This is going to be a musictheory.net tutorial, just a basic how to go through the website, how to navigate, what to do, and how to use it. The first thing you want to do is go up here, and we're just going to start with the lessons. So you click the lessons tab at the very top, and this is going to kind of help get you a little bit more familiar with the site. So we click lessons, and as you can see, it's got a plethora of different lessons that you can choose from, starting with the basics, staff, clefs, leisure lines, and so forth. For this tutorial, we're going to scoot down just a little bit, and we're going to jump down to intervals. And we're just going to click on this one that says generic intervals. And that'll take us to the first page of the lesson. Once you've gotten to the first page of the lesson, as you notice, there's some lines of text all the way through here. And basically, as you click a line, it takes you through the lesson. You can either click the line, or you can use these little arrows down here at the bottom, and it scrolls through the lesson for you. If you notice, the staff is still blank as it's talking about these. As you continue through the lesson, once you get to a certain point, notes will appear on the staff. Kind of more as a visual example of what the text is saying down at the bottom, to kind of give the students an idea as to what they're reading, and they can visualize that and put that on a musical staff. As you continue through the lesson, it continues to add more to the staff. And the further you go down, the more it adds, and it goes through all the different examples of the intervals. It shows them both melodically and harmonically, all the way up to an octave. At the very end, it gives you a little chart that shows you how to see all these different intervals based off of middle C. To get back to the home page, you click this little home button at the very top. And just to kind of show you another feature that the lessons have, we'll just go over here to this major scale example. And on this one, it shows you the construction of a major scale with the staff and the piano keyboard. And it shows them the keyboard for the notes as well. So there's a lot of great things that you can do with this website. As you go through the lesson, I'm going to scroll through it kind of quickly. When you get to this one right here, you notice there's a little icon here for sound. If you click on that, it will provide an audio example for the students. So not every line will have that audio example, but there are a lot of them throughout. And you can click it down here at the bottom as well, but whatever's easiest for you is what I would recommend. Once you've gone through an entire lesson, you can skip ahead to the exercises. Now, the cool thing about the exercises is that you can customize these to be whatever you and your students need them to be. They can even do this on their own. They don't have to use just the ones that you assign them. So if you go up to the top right here and click exercises, a new page will show up. And let's scroll down to right here where it says interval identification. We'll just stick with intervals for right now. You click on interval identification, and before you start, and I've already got something set up here, but we'll click on settings, and that's this button over here. And as you can see, you can change all types of different things in this drop-down menu. Clefs, range, key signatures, the different types of display for the intervals, the direction, ascending, descending, or both. You can require the quality of the interval as well as the generic number, along with major, minor, perfect, augmented, diminished. And the compound mode button down here, if you turn that on, that changes the intervals to chord extensions, basically the 9th through the 15th. So if you don't want that on, you just got to make sure you leave that over here. You can change the difficulty. There's different difficulty settings to accidentals of doom all the way down to no accidentals. and next question in challenge mode. And to get back, when you're changing settings, all you gotta do is click this little blue arrow at the top, and it takes you right back to here. All right. So really quickly, let's just go through each one, and we'll just leave this on the grand staff so it shows both treble and bass. Let's go down to the range, and we have this E below the staff to the A above the treble staff and bass and treble. To change the notes, you use these arrows. And obviously the ones to the left change the bass, and the ones to the right change the treble clef. Go down to key signatures, and we'll leave it on no key signature, C major, no sharps, no flats, but you can select as many as you like. And for the display mode, we can put both melodic and harmonic. If you want to just show melodic, you can. If you want them stacked on top of each other and just show harmonic, you can do that, or you can pick both. Let's leave it on both for right now. The direction, you can have the intervals ascending, descending, or both. We'll keep both on there. We'll just stay consistent with that. Require quality, all you got to do is click this. If you want that turned off, that'll turn off, and it gets rid of a few of those options. If you're starting with intervals, I would suggest turning that off. But if your students are a little bit more familiar with it, you can turn that on, and it allows you to have some more options. When you click intervals underneath right here, this is where you select the different qualities of intervals: diminished, minor, major, and augmented. Let's just leave it on minor and major to keep things a little simple right now. And difficulty, you click that and it shows those different levels of difficulty. We'll leave it on 1 for right now. And this thing where it says next question, you can select any of these. As soon as they answer a question, it'll immediately go to the next. It'll wait after the audio is played or after the animation. It explains all this right down here, and we can just leave it on after the audio. And for this demonstration, let's turn off the challenge mode because we're just going to be going through this. But what challenge mode does is you can select time limits for the actual homework assignment or assessments that you're making for your students. You can change the amount of questions in multiples of 5. And this option allows them more than one attempt to answer each question. If you wanted to just one and done, you can do that. You can turn it off here, or you can leave it on, and that gives them multiple tries to answer each question within the time limit that you allot for them. But for right now, let's go back and let's turn challenge mode off. That way we can get a little bit faster through some of this. All right, so as you can see, it shows the interval and it has the grand staff here. And all you have to do is they look at the interval and then they select what they want. We have a C to an F. So if they were to hit perfect fourth, it'd play the audio example for them, and then another interval appears. They also have the option, if they're just working through this to test their knowledge, it can show them the answer if you click reveal answer, or they can skip and just go to the next one. Let's hit reveal answer and it'll show you what they do. And it just shows them, and then they click it, and then they can move on. If they get an answer wrong, it just shows up red. And then they can keep trying in practice mode until they get it right. All right, so now that we've gone through how to practice with the exercises and how to show your students how to use them, let's scroll down to the bottom of the exercises page. And there's something that's for teachers, the exercise customizer. Now this is where you can create homework assignments, assessments of any type, whatever you want to use it for. So let's go ahead and click on that. And all of this is exactly the same as before when we were customizing the exercise before. There's only a couple differences, and that's right here: leniency and reset answer. So basically, if you want to leave it at strict, you can. We will for right now, but you can change the leniency to as lenient or as strict as you want to be. It just depends on what you want for your students. And then reset answer, you can use this when you're allowing them to have multiple attempts and they can reset and redo the question. All right. So we'll turn that off for right now, just because we're not going to allow multiple attempts, because I want you to see what it does when you get one wrong. So the link for this that you can share however you like. If your students use Microsoft Teams or Google Classroom, Edmodo, whatever, you can share this link through that, or even email. And they click on the link. Let's go ahead and click on it. And this is what will show up in their browser. So what you'll do is they'll just click Start Challenge. The timer will start and it'll keep track of their score. So let's go ahead and click that. And it shows the key signature, the clef, and here is the bottom note. So we have a perfect eighth, an octave above B flat. So you can either click up here, and if they mess that up and click the wrong thing, they can adjust it with these arrows down and up right here. So B flat to B flat, perfect octave. We got one right. So this is where that reset answer comes into play. I turned it off. So now the note stays there, and they can either click on it and move it up or down the screen, or again, they can use the up or down arrows to move the note up or down on the staff. So they want an augmented octave here. So we have a B natural here because of the key signature, and another B natural here. Well, that's a perfect octave. So they want it augmented. Let's leave it alone. This will be a wrong answer, and I'll show you what it does. You just move right on to the next question. They don't get another attempt. So if you want your students to have multiple attempts at each of these questions, I would highly recommend clicking that multiple attempts tab. Now, once they're done with the assessment, what they're going to do is, if they don't go all the way through and they just select End Challenge with these three little dots up here in the right-hand corner. Yay, we got a new high score. All right. They can view their report, or they can do it again. If you want to allow them to continue and do it multiple times, they can. But let's click View Report. So this actually shows a progress report of what they did, all the settings that you had on there. And what they're going to do is they're going to put their name. If they don't want to put their name, and you want to keep, privacy through the web or whatever, they can put a student number or whatever you decide, but they do need to sign the report. And then after they put that, they'll click Sign Report. And this is the link that they are going to send to you. And then you click on that link and it shows you their report. And it basically shows you exactly what's right here. Now, this is really, really cool because, it grades everything for you. You don't have to spend time going through and grading it yourself, which saves a lot of time. And you can either record the score, or you can just resend it to them and tell them to do it again, or whatever you like to do. They can print them, or you can print them out and give them back to them. But this is a really great tool that allows you to assess your students as they go through these lessons in musictheory.net. So now we're going to click Done, and we're going to go back to the home page. The last thing I want to talk about are the tools. If you go up here next to exercises, there's a little tab that says Tools. Go ahead and click on that, and then a new screen will appear with some different options for you. As you can see, there's calculators, and we're going to talk about those here in a second. Utilities, they can check tempos, they can generate staff paper. There's a pop-up piano window. If you click that, it shows the piano. You can click on notes and spell things out visually for them, or it can play the notes for the students, which is really, really cool. And there's a link to this that you can embed in a website or whatever if you want them to start working on keyboard. Let's go ahead and close out of that, and let's go to what we were going to talk about, and those are the calculators. Now, these tools are really cool. Let's stick with intervals, so we'll click Interval Calculator. And what this does is it shows them the interval that they're trying to build. If they're not sure how to build a major sixth from a C in the key of C major in a treble clef, this shows them what that looks like. And to change the bottom pitch, but leave the interval the same, all I gotta do is click the different notes, and it shows what a major sixth looks like with accidentals if we're not in the key signature, based off that bottom note that you're selecting. So this isn't something that they're going to use to test their knowledge. This is something they can use to help them better understand how to create these intervals correctly. So again, you can change the clef right here. You can even show it on a piano keyboard if you like. And as you can see, it has all the different clefs that you could think of. And you can even add key signatures, and it shows the major and the relative minor for that key. And you can just select whichever ones you like. So let's say you wanted to show an augmented fourth on C. Click augmented fourth, and it shows them. So this interval calculator is really, really cool. It's a great tool that your students can use if they're really wanting to better understand how to build these intervals and what they look like. So let's go ahead and click back on the home button. And when you click the home button, it takes you back to the menu that you originally started from. If you want to go back to the home page, you just click that center musictheory.net icon right here, and it takes you back to the beginning. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and I hope it taught you something on how you can use musictheory.net in your classroom. I really enjoy using it. It's done a lot for me and my students and helping them to learn music theory and how to apply it to the music that we're performing in our class. So thank you for watching this video, and I hope you have a great day.